Okay, so the budget is one of the things that most of our friends asked us about, and in the beginning, after reading some travel blogs and speaking to other travelers and how much each country costs to stay in and live in, we budgeted that it would be around £10,000 to £12,000 each for a whole year. And then we started to look at tickets. We found that the round the world tickets that are offered by Star Alliance and One World, so the two big airline partnerships, were the best for the kind of travel that we wanted to do. And in the end we went with One World because the destinations that we were going for matched up. So we spent £5,500 each on a 16-stop ticket plus 2 air passes, one in Africa and one in the US, as well as a fully comprehensive travel insurance that includes medical repatriation up to £10 million each, dental, hijacking, all of the normal stuff. We took the top package. You can do it cheaper. I mean, round the world tickets start from around £2,500, but we wanted a very specific route and very specific destinations that we thought about that meant a lot to us. Then we also really wanted to do a safari up the east coast of Africa. This is something both me and Sophie wanted to do, which is quite expensive. It's around £1,500 each. But that includes accommodation, food, transport, visas, everything for a whole month. Then we spent around £800 to £850 each on equipment. I spent a little bit more than Sophie on the equipment, buying backpacks, waterproofs, basically everything that we needed. And we used several catalogues from different outdoor shops to find out approximately how much the stuff cost to try and find the cheapest deal. We also spoke to some other travellers as well who advised us on great ways to save money and things that we did need and things that we didn't need to buy. Then for vaccinations, Sophie only had to spend £120 because she's French, so a lot of the vaccinations that she needed were free in France. I also went to France and got some of the vaccinations for free, like some of my rabies shots, but some of the others I had to get here in England, and I actually spent £450 on vaccinations. Although DTP, or dip, and polio, you can get free from your GP in England, Holland, France, Germany, most European countries, as well as hepatitis B, you can definitely get for free. There were probably some other ones I could have got for free, but I didn't have time to make the appointments because the waiting time was so long, so I went private and paid for some of those. It's between £30 and £80 depending on which vaccination you get each time. Then for the medicine, again, Sophie's French, and in France they have a really good social system, so she only paid £50 for all of the medicines. This includes all of her anti-malarials, reserve treatments, antibiotics, everything, whereas I had to pay £250, which again is a lot more. Then we also spent £200 buying a small netbook that we're going to use to be blogging whilst we're going around, email, Skype with friends. This was because we spoke to a lot of people who said that the internet cafes are really expensive and there's really long queues, so after a whole day of travelling you don't want to spend 1 or 2 hours in an internet cafe queuing for a very slow, very expensive connection when you can get free Wi-Fi in a lot of places around the world now. Then we also spent £180 on the camera that Sophie's holding, which is a full HD, waterproof, shockproof, it's very compact, it's about this big, digital video camera. We also spent £250 on a waterproof, shockproof, still digital camera, so that if we go snorkeling or see anything interesting, we can just snap pictures in the water as well. Then for the Australian work visas, that was £180 each. Because we both have European passports, a lot of the other countries for visas are either free or relatively cheap. We're talking about $20, $30 a time. There are exceptions, but the Australian one was the most expensive because it's a work visa, but it does mean that we can work for up to 12 months in Australia, which is great, so we can earn some extra cash. Then we also have £4,000 spending money each for the whole year, and this is for hostels, food, basically everything. The trick to make that money last as long as possible is to spend a short amount of time in more expensive destinations like Japan or Brazil in Latin America compared to a lot of the other countries where, for example, India is much cheaper, or Mexico and Peru in South America. So by balancing these things out and also by doing work along the way, so the work visas that I already mentioned, this means that our budget should help us go for a whole year. In the end, Sophie spent £12,475 so far, so that's £475 over, and I spent £13,005, so I went £1,005 over budget. This is mainly because I bought a little bit more equipment, and also obviously the vaccinations and the medicine are really the two costs that I hadn't expected to be that expensive. Other than that, we'll obviously keep you updated as we go, because maybe some countries are going to be more expensive than we planned.